You're listening to Comic Reflections, episode 145. I'm your host, Nicholas Prom.
And I'm Jeff Barnhart, Donald Duck's idiot cousin.
Comic Reflections is brought to you by Rhymes with Geek. You can check out our show, plus several other cool podcasts like The All-New Anti-Fanboy, Feed It Comics, and Superhero Speak at rhymeswithgeek.com. We're also available now on backissueheroes.com, the home of classic comics on the web. And if you enjoy our show, please subscribe to us on either iTunes or Stitcher.
Okay.
Yay!
We're back with the Tomb of Dracula.
Yeah, Dracula. And this is the end of our survey of that series, but we're going to go out with a bang, maybe.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're going to talk about Tomb of Dracula number 65, and the story is called Where No Vampire Has Gone Before. It's written by Marv Wolfman, penciled by Gene Colan, and inked by Tom Palmer. And this is the next, last week we read Tomb of Dracula number 65, and we had just found out that Dracula has been turned human by Satan.
Yeah. Hey, look at this. Denise Wall, letterer, and Francois M., colorist. Girls don't belong in comic books. What's going on?
Jeff. Ooh.
But that is interesting, and you don't see that. I think Francois, it looks, I think that's
a male.
Is it?
Francois is a male name. Remember Francois was the name of the kid in The Fly.
The Fly?
The Fly with Vincent Price, remember?
Oh, it's been a while.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but Denise, I think, is...
Women working comics. Let's move on.
Oh, okay, sorry. But I was making a joke, so...
Okay.
So we're trying to anyway. Okay, so...
Failing.
Alright, yeah, alright. Dracula is been turned into a person. And... Okay.
Van Helsing and his gang, group.
Janus wasn't that his...
Dracula's son?
Yeah, and he's all grown up already?
Yeah, here's the thing about Janus. He was resurrected and he's an angel, and he's an adult.
Okay.
And it's weird.
Alright, so they have a moral quandary. It's an interesting quandary. Dracula was evil and all this because he's a vampire, and vampires do evil stuff.
Now that he's human, are we... And can we or should we kill him? Yeah.
All right. So, like Adolf if he had lived after World War II, got captured, and he says, "Oh," and turns into a nice guy, he still should be punished because he's still human, and he still did things as a human. And you're not sure if he's lying that he's a good guy now.
Right.
But this is, you can prove that he's not Dracula's no longer a vampire. Should he be held responsible for his actions as a vampire?
Well, he's still the same person.
But being a vampire makes you kill people.
Yeah, that's true.
Although he killed people beforehand, and he's based on Vlad the Impaler, who impaled people who made him mad.
Yeah.
I think some Turkish ambassadors would not take off their hats to him, so he had the hats nailed to their heads.
I'm not sure if those were Turks, but the Turks were Dracula's enemies. They had kidnapped him. They had killed his father and his brother Radu, and they were his enemies for his whole life. Mm-hmm. You know, so
yeah. Okay. So I don't know. I don't know what I would do.
I read something about how Dracula had a bunch of people impaled in his backyard, and one time the Turks came and were attacking his castle or something, and he had all the heads cut off from the impaled behind him, mm-hmm. and set on fire and launched like catapults at the Turks.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah. Okay.
So
he was a rough guy. So I don't know.
A rough guy. Yeah.
So should he be killed? This is the question, and I guess they say he's going to be killed. So,
okay.
Okay, we have another thing going on.
A subplot. That bounty hunter that the TV guy hired in
mm-hmm.
the previous issue, he's killing other vampires trying to find Dracula.
Yeah. When I first saw him, I thought he was a Shakespearean actor or something like that.
But he looks like Dan Haggerty.
Yeah.
Dan Haggerty, vampire hunter.
Right. So
You know what?
he finds out about Dracula.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Here's just a little interject. Last night I watched the movie Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter.
Yeah.
You saw it too?
Mm-hmm.
It was okay. I wouldn't watch it again and again.
I like the scenes of early Washington D.C. at that time and New Orleans. I thought that was really wonderful, and the rest of the movie was okay, but I don't know. They didn't get Lincoln right. Lincoln had a sense of humor, and he never was that funny in that movie. And that's sort of I got the book. I haven't read it yet.
Oh, really?
Signed by the author. So.
Oh, that's nice. The movie was okay. It was entertaining. I probably wouldn't watch it again.
Right.
But anyway, so what's going on with Dracula?
He meets a drug addict.
Yay!
So, she's doing drugs. She takes some. I thought she was a prostitute.
I did too.
Might be, but she invites Dracula to her room. It was kind of cool. He was outside the door and he asked, "May I enter?" And I says, "Huh? Oh yeah." Because Dracula cannot enter a house unless he's given permission.
Vampires, yeah, they have to be invited in.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that movie, Let the Right One In?
I never saw it, but
oh man, see the original. Don't waste your time with the American remake.
I try not to.
Yeah.
All right. So these guys, apparently, the drug addict.
She owes these guys money or something.
She stole a bunch of heroin.
Right.
So now they're mad, and Dracula starts beating them up, and he gets shot, and this bullet hurt.
Huh?
Yeah. And here comes the cops, and they arrest Dracula. And so he is released. They want to talk to him, and here comes this photographer, takes a picture of him. And Dracula doesn't like pictures. Although before...
he couldn't be photographed.
But now he can be, and it's kind of cool.
And he ends up on the evening news. And that's how Van Helsing and his group realize is where they can start, get back on the trail to Dracula.
Yeah. And it's really... I like this. He's afraid, it's daytime. I'll die. I won't.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And you can see himself in mirrors and all this. It's kind of cool. It's really well done.
Yeah.
And Helsing makes a big deal. After all this time, a photograph. And I don't know. It's just well written. Very well done.
Yeah.
Well thought out.
Yeah. Marv Wolfman, great writer.
Mm-hmm.
I loved his stuff. I love most things I read from him I've enjoyed a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The New Teen Titans at DC, that was his book.
Oh. Yeah, but then Dracula needs someone to suck his blood, so he becomes a vampire again. So he goes to New York City, and that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah, well, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a Twinkie alert. Fruit pies in this time. Spider-Man versus the Wrecker.
The Home Wrecker.
Is that what he's called?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, just so we don't get confused with the actual Wrecker.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
He's the day is saved by Hostess fruit pies. Cool. All right.
So here is the last issue of it we're going to read, and I think it's the second. What is it? It's Tomb of Dracula number 68, and of course the series only ran till set number 70.
Mm-hmm.
And the story is called "The Return to Transylvania," and Marv Wolfman wrote it, and Gene Colan did the pencils. Tom Palmer on inks.
All right. You find Dracula on the top of the Empire State Building. Or is that the Empire State Building? I think it's Empire State.
I don't know.
Okay. And he's mad at God and mad at Satan. So, let's see. Janus comes and talks to him and sends him to Transylvania.
Yeah.
Cool house there for the Micronauts.
Yeah.
I always liked the way they were drawn.
Well, Michael Golden's a terrific artist. I've met him.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting guy. He will talk and talk and talk with you.
Mm-hmm.
You'll go away thinking kind of like, what a jerk, even though he's not a jerk to you. He seems like he's an interesting guy, but it seems like being an artist is so joyless That's the impression I got after talking with him. You know, I was talking to him about Micronauts and Bucky O'Hare and different other things that he's done, and he doesn't care so much about doing that work unless, I don't know.
Well, some people, it's just a job.
It is.
You know,
I mean,
it's not a calling. It's just, hey, I'm good at this. I can get paid. Yay.
Yeah. And I've seen him, but he gives panels about like artistic storytelling and stuff. So he's got to have some, visual storytelling. But
it just might be the way he is. And some people come off gruff and mean, but they're not.
But again, he was perfectly cordial and nice to me and answered all my questions, and we talked a bunch. But I walked away thinking that he was like, God, what a jerk. Even though he was not rude to me in any way.
Interesting. Maybe it's... I don't know. Would I like comic conventions? I don't. If I was an artist or a writer, I'm not sure if I would or not.
I mean, but if he didn't want to talk, he would have told me to go pack snow.
Yeah.
You know.
Or he may have had a bad. He may have had a bad customer.
Sure.
Or something like that, and then he just want to talk it out. And I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if anyone else had that.
I have talked to other people they're like, yeah, he's a talker, but you're like. Yeah, well, something is kind of different with that guy, but he's really great. I've liked his stuff since I was a kid. He did, so it was a weird experience.
Yeah.
Although I found him more enjoyable than Chris Claremont to talk to. Chris Claremont was the guy who wrote the X-Men for like 14 years.
Wow.
And yeah, he's kind of. He was just a jerk, I thought. Kind of highfalutin.
Yeah. He, too, could have been having a bad day. But
true.
I don't know. It's sort of... I try to give people benefit of doubt. And,
sure.
Really know the people.
I mean, I don't think he should be stoned in the streets.
Right.
But I just was like, nah, okay, you know.
Yeah, and... It takes a lot to be an artist, and it's hard on the psyche, and if you act a little weird or rude, I really can't blame them. And
sure.
So they're not total jerks.
Right.
I was about to say something else, but I didn't. I stopped myself in time. Okay, so Drac is in Transylvania.
Yay!
And he meets the Van Helsing clan.
Yeah.
And he fights and
fights. Man, there's an amazing house ad. It's called Behold, the Marvel Galaxy of Superstars. And we've got Nova and Captain Marvel and the Hulk and Shang-Chi, the Master of Kung Fu, and Daredevil.
Cool.
Yeah, so
they're being chased. He's being chased by Van Helsing's, and he puts up a good fight even though he is human.
Right.
And he sees some... coffins with and there's this beautiful, what's her name, Marissa, and she wakes up and says, oh, you're not my leader anymore. So,
right.
So wow. So he is powerless.
Yeah, in the short time that Dracula has been human again, someone else has taken control over his former slaves. Torgo.
Yeah. So, I don't know what's up with that.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
We see Dracula keeping his pimp hand strong. Slapping somebody.
Yeah, slapping a girl, Van Helsing, right?
I can't remember if she's a Harker or a Van Helsing. I don't know. Whatever, the girl. Yeah.
He runs out and he goes into a graveyard. And here comes these... the undead after him.
Yeah.
And he's about to die. And then there's a Harker
No, it's Van Helsing in the wheelchair.
Yeah. The man. There's a... Okay, I guess... I don't like the group going after him. They don't have that much personality, and it just bores me. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, Dracula is the most interesting character in this, and he should be. But yeah, they're not that great. Abraham Van Helsing is kind of cool. Is it Abraham? I don't even know anymore.
Yeah. So he Dracula hates being captured by a guy in a wheelchair, and he feels really bad about it. And he's I renounce God, and I renounce Satan. And then Van Helsing laughs because Van Helsing isn't Van Helsing; he's Satan. So there's no place for Dracula to go. He can't go to hell, can't go to heaven. But Satan says there's even worse place to go. And says, wow.
Yeah, and Satan restores him to his vampiric previousness.
Yeah.
He's a vampire again.
Mm-hmm.
That was a weird way for me to phrase that, but yeah.
Real Van Helsing says, "Oh, let him go. You'll never be the same." So I don't know.
Yeah, and then there's two more issues of the series to wrap it up. So, but which I have read those issues years ago. But anyway, the next book we got to talk about. This is great. It's Uncanny Tales number 11, and this is all reprints of Marvel's monster books. And the lead story we've got is I Found the Mad Universe, and it's a reprint from Strange Tales number 76. Don't know who wrote it, but Steve Ditko did the art, and it's awesome. And this is a cool story.
Yeah. The splash panel has these silhouettes, and silhouettes can be used so well in comics. It's really dramatic and all.
I think Ditko did a great job there.
The scientist is to devise a really cool looking microscope.
He probably created, he didn't buy, he created this giant microscope.
And he's looking at atoms, and it's a universe, which is the classic stoner thought process or whatever, that
sure.
That everyone's done that. Well, it's really cool. It's a universe in our thumb or something.
Here's the thing, though, but this gets so it's a classic trope of comics. The subatomic universes. I think of like the Fantastic Four and the Hulk. That that kind of stuff has come into play there quite a bit.
Yeah, it was
the microverse, subatomica. So anyway,
it's mentioned in Animal House as well.
Really?
When Otter gets stoned, is it Otter? Pinto. No, it's a Pinto. It gets stoned for the first time. They start talking about that.
Oh, I don't remember. And I've seen Animal House several times.
Yep. So the scientist sees a world that is inhabited, and they're running around and says, "What's going on?" And says, "Oh, they're fighting. It's a huge war."
Oh man.
And he destroys the machine and says, "We cannot ever look at this again, and there's no point in it." And they just never mention the Mad Universe again, because a strange savage world, a world called Earth.
So it's the total Twilight Zone thing. You thought we were on Earth already, but it was somebody else or another world. I love that. That was the episode of the Twilight Zone where there was the nuclear war, and they were trying to escape to another world. And then they go, and the world that they're escaping to is Earth, and they're having a nuclear war.
Oh, I haven't seen that one. That's
really? It's pretty awesome.
I do like Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Even though sometimes you can see a mile away, and but very good acting, and a lot of times the writing is first class.
Oh yeah, I think there's more great episodes of the Twilight Zone than lousy ones. But yeah, okay. So the next story we have to talk about is called "The Dead Don't Sleep," and it's a reprint from Adventures into Terror number 30. No credit on the writer, but the art is by Al Ida. And what happens here?
Well, the art is wonderful. These dead are coming up because they're being called by someone. We don't know who. And they look great. Fantastic. And they want to be left alone. And they get called up, and one of them, who is a murderer in his lifetime, gets a knife. So he has that knife ready.
Yeah, it's great to see how these just rotting ghouls coming up out of their graves. And
so they go back, and then they get called again, and you hear screaming, and then all the dead are happy because they're going to be left alone. And we cut to a scene at a seance and this guy got stabbed. He was
A medium.
medium, and yeah. So leave the dead alone, folks.
Yeah, but it was pretty cool. It was only like a 3 or 4 page story, but just lots of great shots of those ghouls coming up out of the graves.
Yeah.
But the next story we've got is I Saw the Elephant's Graveyard. It's a reprint from Strange Tales number 72, with art by John Fort, who did a lot of Legion of Superheroes and Superman stuff at DC.
Yeah, a gentleman looking for the burial ground of the elephants, which supposedly has, I think it's not true, but the elephants supposed to go to this graveyard and die. And so if you go there, you can get all these tusks, which are made of ivory and worth a lot of money.
Yeah.
This guy has a mustache. Looks like it was drawn on afterwards. It's really weird. It's just.
Well, here's the thing. Maybe John Fort drew the mustache last.
Yeah, but it doesn't look like his mustache. Okay. I don't know why. Maybe I'm stupid. That could be. All right, so.
Or you could be very astute. The mustache could have been added later.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. Because it's going off his face here. You see.
Yeah.
So which looks fake. White men leading a pack of African laborers and carrying stuff through the jungle. The Africans are afraid. We've seen this before 1,000 times. Yeah.
I love how excited you are about this.
Yeah. I've watched enough Tarzan. It's old.
Okay.
So it doesn't have any.
I get you. I'm teasing.
Nothing.
It's fine.
I know, and I'm teasing back. Fool! Don't. Okay, so they follow the elephants and they find it, and it's in quicksand. And then they say, "Oh, well, I guess I can't get them." Couldn't you drain the swamps? Quicksand is not. It's not a magical thing. It's just a place. it's just a place where there's no ground and it's soft, and you get sucked into it. And there is such a thing as quicksand. It's not.
I mean, geez, they pulled dead animals out of La Brea tar pits.
Yeah.
That's probably harder than getting somebody out of quicksand.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So he gives up, and that's it. Okay.
So I think the next, and is it the last story in this issue? Yeah. We have Escape, which is a reprint from Menace number 4, written by Stan Lee, with art by Russ Heath, one of the great war comics artists. And typically I think of him as a DC guy, but in the 50s he was doing Marvel.
Yeah.
Or Atlas at the time, I guess. So.
Okay, this is interesting. It's called Escape.
Yeah.
Which is a title of a 1940s radio show where people would get into trouble.
Okay.
It's anthology.
Yeah.
But
hey, like this comic.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's done in the form of another radio show called The Whistler, where they go, "You killed him. You thought you would get away with it, but you forgot. You did it in the halftime show at the Super Bowl," or something like that.
Right.
And,
I think I've heard about this.
And it's not bad, and it's fairly interesting, but it's done exactly this way.
Cool.
So, because your trembling fingers dial a number, and so all right. So this guy stole H-Bomb's secret.
Okay. And he's going to sell it to the commies.
Right. So, and he makes a phone call. They're going to come. He's going to be rich. Then he looks into the box, and it's empty, which was kind of stupid. They should have just put rocks or something in there, or something. Mm-hmm. So, and also, wouldn't it be very light? Oh well. So he stole it. He didn't even look inside. So now he thinks, "Oh crap! It's a trap." The FBI going to have him arrested.
Yeah. And I gotta how great the art is on this. It's really terrific.
Fantastic. Good shadow work.
Yeah. I think Russ Heath did his own inks on this.
Oh man, him reading the paper and his face is mostly in shadow. It just and you can see the flop sweat.
Yeah. It's great. You would never think a panel of somebody reading a paper would look so exciting. dramatic, but it's great. You can feel the tension. And this guy is on the lam, and he doesn't know what to do. It's awesome.
Now he gets past the FBI, and he's running, and he sees a paper, and the red spy ring is broken. And let's see. So now he's in trouble. The FBI, so the Freedom Forces are after him.
Yeah.
The commies are mad because they.
He didn't get the H-bomb secrets.
Well, and someone who was coming to pick it up, and he got caught, so they lost the spy ring.
Yeah.
And so everyone's going to get mad at him on Earth. So what does he do?
He finds out there's a scientist who's got an experimental rocket that'll go to the moon. So he'll leave Earth. And what a dumb plan, because what are you going to do? How are you going to live on the moon?
Right.
What you can do for supplies. But anyway, he goes to the scientist's house and makes him, show him the experimental rocket.
And then he knocks the guy out, and then he goes inside where the rocket is, and it's 3 feet tall.
It's a miniature rocket, so the guy's screwed.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's something else.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
But, well drawn, but the old radio shows are pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. No, I like stuff like that.
Some of them are bad, but some of them are very good. Jack Benny, I like The Whistler, I like The Escape. Gunsmoke is wonderful. The Third Man with Orson Welles is great.
Sure. So, I love Orson Welles. He's great.
Okay.
So, for our next comic book,
yep.
We have it's Daisy and Donald, number 24, from Gold Key Comics, and the lead story is called The Sandpiper Caper. And actually, all the stories in this issue were written and drawn by a fellow named Bob Gregory. So I'll give the credits once.
Okay.
And we will call it good.
Yeah. So it's not Carl Barks. So.
It's not Carl Barks. This is like 1977, and Carl Barks retired in 1965.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing: he created many of the characters that are at play here.
Yeah. Scrooge.
Uncle Scrooge was created by Carl Barks, as was all of his enemies like Flintheart Glomgold and the Beagle Boys. And also
I love the Beagle Boys.
Yeah, and also Donald's cousin Gladstone, who we'll see in this issue.
Okay.
So,
all right. So Daisy and Donald go off on a date and they go to a beach, faraway beach. I guess it's a takeoff on the Rockaway Beach.
Sure.
Which I thought was when I went to Oregon. I said, "Oh, there's Rockaway Beach. That's what the Ramones are talking about." But no, there's a Rockaway beach in New York's.
State, and it's a disgusting beach. Actually, is the whole thing. It makes the Ramones song "Rockaway Beach" sounds like we're gonna go have a great time at the beach, like it's the Beach Boys. But Rockaway Beach is a beach in either New York or New Jersey, and it's scummy. It's full of syringes and litter. It's a trashy beach. So.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So they're at the beach. It's really nice, and they discover a sign that says Scrooge McDuck on it. So. Hey, let's go see Scrooge.
Yeah, Uncle Scrooge.
And they show the sign that says, "Oh, I never could sell it, but hey, I'm gonna make it into a resort or something." And he's kind of stupid because he's gonna pave over the beach.
Right. And
the worst money grabbing person in the world wouldn't do that because that's where the money is. Sure, a beach property is expensive because it's on a beach.
Right. And you would think Scrooge McDuck would know that.
Yeah.
Because he is a tycoon.
Yeah. So, he's not stupid.
He's not. But for the purposes of this story, it works fine.
Yeah. So Scrooge is messing around. Daisy doesn't want him to do it. Donald is wanting a job, but Scrooge will not give him a job at all.
Yeah.
So Daisy's really ticked off, and she's, "Look at this poor little sandpiper. He's going to be evicted, and he looks kind of sick. So let's take him to the vet." And the vet says, "This is a special sandpiper. It's a rare breed. It's on the endangered species list." So the vet, which is interesting, they have so much power.
Right.
Has a sign that says wildlife refuge.
And puts it on the beach.
Yeah.
So Scrooge can't develop it.
And nothing scares Scrooge like the government.
Or the possibility of losing money.
Mm-hmm. So they got to fix it back up the way they had it. And Scrooge still makes money because he's selling telescope viewing of sandpipers for 10 cents. So
Sure.
now if he cannot not make money.
Yeah. Man, I want to see like the Uncle Scrooge Richie Rich team up.
Wow.
That would be great.
Yeah. Who is richer?
Right?
I wonder who came first.
I want to say Uncle Scrooge, but not that much sooner.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Scrooge McDuck was something that was come up with in the Golden Age, and I think Richie Rich, I could be wrong, but I don't think he came along until the Silver Age.
Mm-hmm.
But I could be wrong. I actually don't know that much about the history of Richie.
Yeah.
So
I'm not sure if there's anything to say. The thing about, we'll continue on with Donald and Daisy, but they don't talk like they do in the comics.
What do you mean?
In the cartoons, they don't. They don't talk
because Donald doesn't go.
But he doesn't get mad that much, and
that's true. You remember in the cartoons, he's always getting super pissed.
And this is great.
Yeah, I mean, I used to love like the intro to the cartoons. They say, "Who gets stuck with all the bad luck? No one but Donald Duck." And then just like horrible things would happen to him, and he'd be mad the whole time. That's the cartoon.
Yeah, and that's super fun. And he gets mad a couple of times, but it doesn't show well on the
but not like
book
as
page.
crazy mad as he used to in that. He's definitely mellowed at this point.
He's not as verbose in the cartoons. He's having it's a weird voice, as in the way he talks is way different. It's not. It might as well be somebody else's of a Donald Duck.
Well, yeah.
Okay,
so the next story is called "The White Collar Job."
Daisy is talking to her friend Myra, who says her husband is wealthy and he works for himself and he travels all the time. That makes Daisy feel bad, so
she wishes Donald worked for himself.
And Donald is a plumber, and so Donald comes back all muddy, or whatever he's got on him, and Daisy shoos him to the other side, and so Myra can't see him. So she wants Donald to be an entrepreneur and own his own business, white collar.
Right. So he starts a business with his friend. What's his name? Horace Horsecollar.
I love that.
Yeah.
And he wears a horse collar everywhere he goes.
Yeah.
Oh. So they become exterminators. And Daisy's kind of ticked off because this is not a cool job. It's a job where you get dirty fingernails.
Right.
And then she's talking to Horace, and Horace says, "Oh, Myra's husband is what is he?
He's a junk man."
Yeah.
Which was worse than Donald being a plumber.
Right.
So Daisy kind of gets her lesson or whatever and just kind of lets it go.
And this is a good lesson. There's nothing wrong with physical labor.
No.
And I wouldn't think, but in TV, people who do physical labor is usually the butt of the jokes. And
sure.
Which is one thing I do like. I do not like reality TV unless it's about a job. You're driving trucks over ice.
Sure.
You're catching crabs, and it is interesting to me to see how people do those things, and they're dangerous and they're interesting, and it's roughneck people, and they're not doctors and lawyers and astronauts or something.
Right.
Although astronauts probably is hard labor too, but it's kind of cool. It's a nice message. It's,
good job, Dell Comics or Golgi.
Mm-hmm.
So
all right. So the next one
is called Lucking Out, and this has Donald's douchebag cousin Gladstone shows up. Man, I hate him. So much. I remember in the cartoon series DuckTales, which was my introduction to Carl Barks' characters. Okay, and Uncle Scrooge didn't like Gladstone either. It's his distant nephew. And because Gladstone is lazy and arrogant and just everything good just happens to him without him working. And Scrooge McDuck was all about he was poor and became extremely wealthy because of his hard work and ingenuity. So he just doesn't like Gladstone, and I don't like him either.
Yeah, well, Gladstone's after Daisy.
Yeah.
I thought they were Donald and Daisy were married.
No, they're just boyfriend and girlfriend.
So so he's Bluto or Brutus.
Sure.
To like Popeyes. That's
Except Daisy does like Gladstone.
Well,
for some reason she
Oliver
finds him.
likes Bluto too. A lot of times.
It depends on the story.
Yeah.
But anyway.
So we see Donald getting mad because he had a date with Daisy, and here comes Gladstone, and he has a date with her too, and Gladstone's keeping him out, and Donald has a really mean, angry look on his face, and I love that. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see, where we going? So they go on a trip together, and they go by Daisy's grandmother. Oh, grandma, I guess.
Yeah.
And grandma has this magic thing that
It's a lodestone, is that what it is?
Yeah, a lodestone, which I know what a lodestone is. I never heard of being called magical, but that's interesting. So if you rub it, good things happen. Yeah. And good things happen. They get Gladstone gets thrown into the water. His car gets wrapped and goes down.
Yeah, Donald's using the lodestone to like counteract Gladstone's like crazy luck that he always has.
Okay.
We have a great Twinkie alert.
I think this might be the best Twinkie alert of all time.
It's great, and the villain looks cool, and the art, which I think is by George Tuska, looks excellent, and it's Iron Man.
Yeah, versus Mr. Monotony.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mr. Monotony turns everything gray and boring, and he looks cool.
Yeah, he does, and everything looks gray and boring and cool.
You see in the background when Tony's putting on the Iron Man armor, you see like he's got a glass in the background, like drunk Iron Man.
Yeah, and he's Say Today with Hostess Cupcakes.
Yeah.
Oh, and then we see Mr. Monotony running away.
Right.
You can't be bored when you're eating delicious Hostess Cupcakes.
Yeah.
Man, that's great.
Yeah. So anyway, back to the story with Donald.
So Donald, he wants to go to a certain place. He wants, he wishes for sandwiches, deviled egg sandwiches. I love deviled eggs. I never heard of deviled egg sandwich.
I've heard of egg salad sandwich.
Right, which I don't particularly like, but deviled eggs, man. But I never heard of them in the sandwich.
Yeah. But Gladstone usually gets his way with everything because of his luck, but he doesn't this time. And throughout this story, it's really great.
Yeah.
Because Gladstone is a real POS.
Yeah. So they go over falls, and then Donald wakes up. It's all a dream.
Yeah, when Gladstone had shown up in the first place and knocked Donald off the porch, Donald just like fell asleep or was knocked unconscious. So there was no lodestone. But so Donald decides to go with Gladstone into the and Daisy into the country anyway, and they're gonna skip going to Grandma's instead of going there. So I like that story a lot.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, not bad. It's high quality. I don't like that Roadrunner, which is maybe the worst thing we've read.
That Roadrunner comic we read a week or two ago? Yeah, it just was a lousy comic book. This is fun.
Yeah.
You can do kiddie comics, but
you can do anything kind of art. If it's for an 8-year-old or 6 years old, there's still quality.
You don't have to make it stupid. That's the thing.
Right.
This is a good story that's aimed at a specific audience. That other thing was like talking down to somebody. Because it was just lousy.
The only good thing about it rhymed, but actually that kind of made it drag.
It made it even stupider. So
I like rhyming, but yeah. All right.
Yeah. So one more story.
Okay.
It's called Lost and Found. So
Donald's reading a newspaper, and he said, "The small tot was lost in the park for 3 hours. How stupid can you be to lose a kid?" And so Daisy said, "Oh, I'm glad you said that. You're looking after the 3, let's see, what's their names? April, May, and June.
That's right. I think they're Daisy's nieces.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, wait, were Huey, Dewey, and Louie not in this?
No.
Oh, man, I love them.
They're his cousins, right? Nephews?
No, they're his nephews.
So, Donald sees that there's a sale on fish line bobbers. $1 a dozen. And so, I guess it's a good price.
Yeah.
So he takes the kids to the place where they're having a big sale, and he loses them. No.
Well, they wander off.
Yeah. He parks in a towaway zone. Dough.
And the car gets towed.
Mm-hmm. So he thinks they're stolen.
Right.
Which always worries me. Is my car stolen or towed away, or am I not looking at the right place?
Sure.
No, it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so they found the. So he goes to the police, and it's a huge thing. Gets in the newspapers, and he finds them, and the cops sees them getting the kids, so he thinks it's a kidnapping. So they're arrested, and they find out that everything's cool, and it makes the front page, and Daisy has a good laugh.
Yeah, but the kids were fine, and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So Donald kind of got to learn a lesson, and blah blah.
Yeah.
So
about bad.
Judging people too quickly,
Indeed.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Oh, great show. See you in the funny papers.